Hello YouTube vintage stereo collectors and restorers. So I've been doing a little bit of recap work on this realistic SA-101. The gray caps are coming out and the red ones are going in, except for the 2470s. I didn't have any left in those work electronic ones. But I haven't done, like, I put in 1,000 for 1,000 and a 220 for 220. I'm not doing any major upgrading capacity on this because this is basically a headphone amp or like low-level listening. I think one of the mistakes that's made with some of these minis is people try to like really beef them up, and I've heard, like, I saw one that a friend of mine had picked up for almost nothing. Somebody put a great big transformer in it and cut a notch in the lid so that the chassis could slide in. And you know what? It didn't sound any better. But what I wanted to talk about today is a little problem that comes up when you're restoring stuff. Well, I don't know if I have any here. Oh, there we go. Just reaching into my garbage. Today we're talking about the problem of snip-snip. Snip-snip's a term one of my daughters came up with years when she was very small, and she'd come into my little workshop and she'd say, "How are you doing, Daddy?" I'd say, "Be careful, there's some snip-snip on the floor," because I didn't want to get that in the foot, you know. Because sometimes I used to snip stuff and then just kind of push it off the bench to get it away from the unit and then sweep up afterwards. One thing, and I just ran into this with a unit yesterday. I opened it up for testing and everything, and I noticed the left channel on the phono wasn't working. And so I listened to it and I looked down like, oh, there's a piece of wire under some resistors. Well, kind of like wedged in between them. So I shut it off and I carefully get it out of there. Well, it was too late. There's a bad transistor or something. I haven't diagnosed that one. I want to finish this one first. That came from some work that somebody did at some point. And I can tell you it's happened to me. I thought I counted for every little piece I snipped out and like tossed it in the garbage and like cleared things off, used compressed air to blow it out. I had a Yamaha CA-510. I changed a few parts around the output stage and a new relay. And I looked at it very carefully. I turned it upside down, shook it out, blew some compressed air in it, because I thought there was one I couldn't account for. Plug it in, turn it in, I'm listening to it with headphones, something coming off my computer, and I just moved it like this to put it down, and there was a flash under one of the output transistors. Very similar thing to like this, soldered to the board and on heatsink. And then it went into protection mode. So I shut it off. I'm like, oh, that's where that went. I'm like, oh. And I don't have any of those left. You know, like, I had to go and buy more transistors because not only did it take one of the outputs, it took the driver with it. It's very easy to happen. So I guess all I'm saying today, like on a unit like this, everything is really out in the open. It's very nice to work on. You know, you can flip it one way, flip it the other way. It's not hard to get anything. Every solder land is accessible, which is kind of cool. And these days I am so careful with accounting for all debris, but it still happens. I had a Heathkit tuner, a solid state one of the smaller ones from 1965. And one of the output transistors was bad. And it's just like low level output. So I solder a new one in and put one in on the other channel, a couple of caps. Turn it on, I'm like, okay, I've got noise on both channels, but where did the FM go? And it was because I was soldering like this, like up in there, and one little dribble caught near an IF can. It was bridging some pins of one of the IF stages. And I'm looking. Oh, there it is. I just went, ba-ding, and the FM came back on. So it happens. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening. By the way, if you want something like it's a good unit to start on, some of this small stuff is really a good place to start. It's been very enjoyable to be able to recap a unit in an hour. Thanks for watching and listening.